Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's ODTN use case team call. Call is public and recorded as usual, and it will be published on YouTube. Sorry for moving it around a little bit this week, but I'm not in Europe for this week and the following week. I'm in the US, so I had a few other meetings and a few other conflicts that did not enable me to have it neither Tuesday nor Wednesday. So we're having it today. Thanks for joining. The first order of business is that we published the Tip Summit demo video. So if you guys are interested, you can go ahead and check out this video here, which is the Tip Summit demo video that I recorded and I shared, and it gives an overview of what we've done, the different equipment we used, and then it shows the demo as we have done it at Tip Summit. So check it out. Feel free to share it on your channels and things like that. I think it turned out pretty nice, and it's a good milestone for the people that were involved in the demo. So that's pretty good. I like it. Another two good points is that we actually got two papers with ODTN accepted at OFC. So there's one with the demo zone that was proposed based on the Tip Summit demo that was accepted, and the other one was during the paper session. It was based on the Candy POC from Telefonica and NTT that also got accepted during the session. So that's pretty good. I think I want to thank everybody who participated in those. So that's very good. That's very good. Okay, next up, I saw that there are some comments on the cross connect command. Ivan, do you want to discuss that? Ivan, we seem not to be able to hear you. Or is it just me?
I can't hear him either.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't seem to be muted.
I think he might have some issues with the audio. Okay, Ivan, if you can, please rejoin the call. I'm gonna skip maybe to another point, and then we can come back to this once you rejoin with working audio. Okay, so let me skip to the driver consolidation since Sudeep is here. I think there was some great progress that was happening this week. Sudeep, do you want to give us an update on both the flow root programmable and the power config?
Yeah. Actually, from the flow rule programmable perspective, we have done and we have given it for testing. And power consolidation also we have addressed all your review comments and we have pushed the code changes. So you can review that and we can go ahead with the testing.
Yeah, that's perfect. So the flow programmable, I know it's progress in Sterlite. They're testing it. I also have access to two Cassini device, and I will do the testing as soon as I get back a couple of ACO cards that Scott from Lumentum has that were used at Tip Summit, and I have not yet received back from him. So what we'll do is that I will do the testing on the Cassini, and if that works, since we got a working on ADVA, I think we can go ahead and merge it, and I think that's something that we will do this week. Thanks for the update for the flow programmable. Thanks for the update to the power config.
Yes. Hello. We need to discuss on that prefix usage in while building RPC requests and while passing the RPC request. Basically, that OC OPT term prefixes that we use for Nokia.
Yes.
Are competitive or can they be omitted and can they be excluded and we can make the code similar?
Yes. Okay. So let me make a final review on that, on your status. Then I'll send it out and make sure that Ivan and Dominique comment on it. I was hoping that Ivan could comment on it now, but he's having audio issues. But the idea, let me do the review, then send it out as I've done through the email to make sure that people test it. Regarding the prefixes, I believe, at least as far as me and Sean have worked with prefixes in the past for ONOS config. I believe that should not be a problem removing it. Am I right, Sean? Let me just bring everybody up to speed on what we're talking about. So the only difference between the Nokia terminal device power config and the rest of the power config that we have in our code base is this prefix on each of the keys in the key value of the XML payload. So I believe that we can remove it, but I just wanted to make sure with the Nokia folks, from a theoretical perspective, I don't think that's any difference, right?
And this is as a netconf payload?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it would depend on the device, I think. You know, some of them want to validate the content.
Yeah.
Others don't. Netconf is pretty fussy about it, much more fussy than we were with GNMI.
Yeah.
You know, because like this is a, you know, starting in line 164 there, that is a proper XML document, and you know, the namespace is defined, and the alias for us. So, you know, it might be something that is actually needed.
Okay. Ivan, can you hear us now?
Yes, I do. You hear me?
Yes, perfectly fine. Awesome. We were just discussing, and maybe we would like your opinion on this. So the only difference between the power config that you have with your driver, the Nokia driver, and the power config of other devices is the prefix that you see highlighted here, this OC OPT term prefix. Is that something that is mandatory for Nokia devices?
Good question. That's how I get the message. And to parse it, I need to put it. Otherwise, I would not be able to parse this information within this task. So it's just how it is.
Okay, but if you send it down without, will that be a problem for the device? On the
yes.
Okay, I see. Okay, so we cannot remove it.
Unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine. It's just a matter of understanding. I think then it's perfectly fine, Sudeep, if we leave it as is. We just leave it as you have done. I think that's the only way we can go forward.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Then I'll make a final review today on this power config. I'll send it out, and so everybody can take a look and test it. Both Jakub from Adva, that I know is doing some end-to-end testing on that. Ivan from Nokia. I'll do the testing on the Cassini as soon as I have them up and running next week with the ACO cards. So that's gonna be the way we test this, and we'll definitely get them merged by end of next week, both of the Floral programmable and the power config. That is my understanding. Okay. Anything else on this, Sudeep?
Andrea, next thing what we need to take up, we have the modulation one, but for the modulation one, I could see only Cassini classes in the current master branch.
That's a good point. What I'm gonna do? Actually, let's start the refactoring based only on the Cassini class. Then I will do the one for the Groove, because I need to merge the Groove patch, because I'm done waiting for Infinera to merge it themselves. I'm just gonna upload it myself in a final branch and just merge it. And I will base that patch upon the changes that we make in all these classes. So yeah, the modulation is the next one, and we'll do the Groove, and we can also ask both Jakub and Ivan to test out the base class for their devices, and it should just work. So I think that's another next step. Okay, makes sense?
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, let's go back to the cross connect command. Ivan, do you want to give us an update on that? I know you and Alessio had a little bit of a discussion.
Well, Alessio put some comments on the cross connection command. I did implement this this command already.
Okay.
I mean, updated the CLI command with regard to his comments and uploaded it on Gerrit. I think that it should be okay. There is somehow one thing missing. I was not able to make run autocomplete feature through the carafe. I don't know where is the reason. Probably I need some guidance in it. But somehow also Alessio indicated here that the driver is not fully compatible with service instance or rather manager. So there should be also, I guess, some discussion between you and Alessio on it.
Okay, I'll take a peek at what Alessio's comments are, and if the device ID completer does not work, I'll make sure to. I'll have to follow up with you. Does the other port?
Which other port you mean?
Like, okay, this one doesn't work, but does this work?
No, nothing.
Okay. Then it might be that we have to put some. We need to add the completion stage to the a CLI main file. I'll have to look into this. Let me.
All right.
Let me do that, and I'll get you some guidance on it. But so with the changes that you have made, now this works also for the Lumentum stuff.
Yes.
Awesome. That's perfect. Okay. Let me just take a note on that. Okay. Okay. Let's discuss the completion issues on another note. Okay.
Sure.
Next up, there's the alarms portion, which I will divide in two. One is an example with the Nokia drivers, but before that, I invited Sean from ONF, who has done some great work on the UI of the alarms, to give us a demo of what now we can actually do with the alarms UI and the whole announcements that he has made since basically last week. Sean, should I give you presenter right?
Yeah, thanks, Andrea.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay, hopefully you can see this. So there's my ONOS desktop. Let me see. So what I did is there were a couple of improvements. So there's the alarm view. Yeah, I might have to refresh here. I'm disconnected. Let me see. So there's the alarms view, which I organized the columns across the top. They were misaligned, so they align now. And also I added color coding to the severity field, and as you can see, critical flashes on and off, and various other ones keep their are steady, but follow a kind of there is a color palette for the whole ONOS GUI, and basically I was restricted by that. I wanted to keep within that allowed set of colors for the ONOS GUI. So going back to the topology view, it's possible then to we'll say look at a device actually that is highlighting an intent there that I had put between these two devices as well, and I'll show that as an in-context launch there in a minute. But just clicking on the device here for a start, clicking on the device brings up the context view, and now you have an alarm button there. So basically, you click that button and it launches it in the context of device 3. So rather than showing the full set of alarms, so that's what I call an in-context launch of the alarm view. The other thing that's here as well is the ability to turn off these alarms as well, so they can be hidden and re-enabled again. There's actually a slightly newer version of the patch that oh yeah, sorry, the icon goes grey when the alarms are disabled, and is solid color when you select it. So on the subject of intents, I'll just this is kind of unrelated to ODTN, but it's kind of leading into an intent I think you wanted to create, Andrea. If we go to the intents view, I have a host-to-host intent there, and you can see the details of it here. But what I've added now is an in-context launch of that intent on the topology view, and so there it is. It's highlighting that it's intent with that dotted line, and it's actually being masked by the host being superimposed over that device. These devices were given, geographical locations, and I'm zoomed out quite a bit, so that's why you're not seeing them. First off, so clicking on the background then cancels the display of those intents. And the other thing that I added is when you click on a host and you click on another host with the Shift key, oh yes, you see they selected the first one. Now I've got two selected, and so now I can create a host-to-host intent between those two hosts, and off it goes. It doesn't highlight it. Oh yeah, there it is. So it's highlighted, and it starts showing the route that it took through the system, and then clicking on the background again cancels that. So on the subject of intents, that's the second intent between the same two hosts, and I can stop that, and I can remove it as well. So that's just another little feature of it. So I think that was the set of improvements, Andrea. That's all I have.
Thanks, Sean. I think this looks great, and it enables us a great host of new features, both in the alarms and the intents. The intents, we're not going to be able to use the host-to-host intent in ODTN for now because it's not yet supported through the optical intent. But if we create an optical intent somewhere else, let's say CLI, let's say REST API, let's say through TAPI or something like that, we will definitely be able to see it. So that's very good, I think. And regarding to the alarms, I think that brought in, again, some of the features that we had a long time ago that I think visually are very nice to see, and will definitely help somebody who is using this. So thanks a lot. This is a great announcement, Sean. Thanks. Just a quick question. We have this merged, right?
Yes, it is merged. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
I didn't backport it to any previous release. It's only on 2.3.
No, that's fine. I think that's fine. That's no real issue. I don't think we need to backport this, also because it's a major new feature, and I don't like backporting newer stuff. So that's great. Thanks, Sean.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions for Sean on this before I take over again? No? Okay, then let me do that.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so in order to see those alarms on the UI, the alarm config implementation is something that needs to be put in for each device. And I know Ivan is working on one for the Nokia transponder, which is exactly this class over here. Ivan, do you want to go over it?
Yeah, sure. I did it actually today, did this upload, and what I'm doing here, I'm basically trying to parse, well, first of all, I'm subscribing on the netconf notifications from the body of the driver device discovery function. And then, yes, it's here, as Andrea shown, these 4 or 5 lines. And basically, once the device is sending the notifications with this interface, which Andreas showed right now, I'm translating to the internal ONOS format. Basically, it's parsing the information with respect to the OpenConfig alarm data model to the alarm default alarm instance default alarm instance. That's basically it. This implementation should be discussed, I think, Andrea, that there's unexpected things. So we can put the discussion in offline.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, please have a look on a build file. I needed to do some changes.
Okay, and I believe this is actually purely OpenConfig based. There is no Nokia specific stuff, right?
No, it's purely OpenConfig based.
Then I'll put some comments. I'll make a review, but I think we can make it OpenConfig alarm config. It's somewhat redundant name.
Oh yeah.
But, I think so. Then everybody can actually go ahead and test this. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, and this is great work. I think it's a first iteration, but I think this is great work for us because it enables you to see the alarms in the UI as Sean was just seeing, and then you could use correlation on the northbound and stuff like this. So it's pretty good. I think we can follow the same process for this, basically adding it to the code base and asking everybody to do a bit of testing on how to use this class and see if it works also for their transponder. So I'll make sure that I'll ask the Adva folks, so Jakub and his team, to test it on their transponder. I'll try and see if the Cassini can be tested with this too. I don't know what the capabilities of ONOS in terms of alarms are, but I'll discuss with both Puneet from Sterlite and Shrikan from IP Infusion to make sure that this is tested. And then, well, obviously it works for you because you have done it based on your stuff. So I think this is really good. It's pretty good. Yeah, I'll make sure to see and do some comments. Is there any major thing that I should look out for? What are those things that you were mentioning before that were failing, were leading to some strange issues?
Well, first, here in the delete part, when I want to set the severity level on clear alarm, I'm doing the following. I'm searching for an alarm store of the device for this alarm, and if I found it, I just put the severity alert, just setting the flag. And for the purpose, I'm in alarm store instance, I guess. And when you're invoking instance, you're basically using handle driver, right? But in my case, somehow it didn't work. So I supposed to use abstract shell command to get this class. Did you get what I mean?
Oh, that's somewhat odd. I'll check both of these things out and see what the issue is. We can maybe take this offline and discuss it because I might need to ask you to show me a few things to make sure I
sure.
it properly.
Sure,
Okay.
it was from my perspective, it was the best way how to do this update, but to be discussed, as I said.
Yeah, but I think this is pretty good, and it also shows that it should be fairly straightforward to add it to any other driver by the XML. So I'll ask Jakub and I'll ask Puneet and the other folks to test with their stuff. That's pretty good. Let me just copy the link for put it in the agenda. Okay. Okay. Here. Good. Okay. So thanks for that. Next up is the bit error rate. Thanks to the folks at Sterlite, we actually merged the bit error rate behavior, so we're now capable of retrieving bit error rate, and we need to test it with other devices. I need to send out an email. I'll do that as soon as I can to make sure and to show an example of how this can be retrieved. Also, there's a REST API for that, but.
Andrea, this is Puneet.
Hi, Puneet.
Say hi. So we have tested this VER right on casino devices with our ONOS. That is, we have already tested in our lab. So I think Nokia network can actually test it on their devices, right? If any issues on that, we'll look into that.
Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely make sure everybody tests this, and we can see the gaps.
Yeah.
If there are any, we can merge them, but I don't think there is any major issue. I'd like to see this happening in the UI and the CLI too, because right now we have a good REST API that your team put in, but also showing it in the UI of the Rodum could be good. The old Rodum UI could be good, and also showing it in the CLI because it's sometimes easier than the REST API. So I've opened a Jira ticket for that. If anybody's interested in taking it, I'm gonna be happy to assign it to him. Okay, just another question, Puneet. So at the moment, what are you guys working on? Because we can discuss a few other things that we can work on together. Or do you have anything that you're already working on that you plan to contribute?
So I think on that testing part, right? Chetan, I sent you a mail regarding that issue which we are facing in terms of the RPC issue, right? So we guys are actually working on supporting new RPC requirement for Cassini ONOS driver, right? But at present, the port discovery is following the old driver, and we couldn't actually do the testing on that. The reason being actually we are using our own NOS, right, on Cassini. And earlier maybe the ONOS team has tested with their NOS, right? So that's maybe the difference.
Yeah, I need to follow up with you on that because I'm able to use that driver with the IP Infusion software, no problem. So I need to understand what are the gaps because that's also something that we need to do for the testing with the consolidation of the device description discovery that we will do with the team at PLC Networks.
Maybe we'll set a separate call for that, and we'll sync up, right, what the exact issues is there, and we'll do some screen sharing and showcase, right, what's the issue you guys are facing.
Sure. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Apart from that, I think you are saying something else, right? So as I discussed last time, right, we can actually discuss in that call further about the GNPY integration as well.
Yes.
We guys actually will look into that, right? What all cases are there, and based on that, we'll discuss, right, further integration of that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. On that, I think there is no update on GNPY integration. Unfortunately, Jan is a little bit taken on other things and cannot really test this. So I'm just gonna wait for him to do a bit of testing, and then if you guys can also do the testing, I'll be happy. And the same thing is happening for the Checklight Rodum drivers. He's busy on a few other things, so there's no update on that side. Regarding the target release, I think I'm actually going to move it to January the 23rd because that's the ONOS 2.3 release. 2.3 release. That's the timing for the general ONOS release. So we might as well tie ourselves with that release and say that is also ODTN 1.0 release. I believe we're just gonna not fix the multi-instance TAPI for now, because there's really nobody that's working on it, and I don't have the time to do it. So we'll just for now glide through it and and just put as a note somewhere in the release notes. This is all working in a multi-instance scenario except the TAPI northbound request. You can do basically everything in here except achieving the end-to-end connectivity through TAPI. You can still achieve the end-to-end connectivity via the REST API for the intents, but not through TAPI. So that's kind of what it is. I don't have the time to fix it, and it's a long job, and I just I can't simply do it. So I think we can. I think that's the release target. Tie in with ONOS 2.3. And to do that, I would like to have merged all the things that are in flight, meaning the driver consolidation, flow programmable power config and modulation, the GMPY integration, the check like ROADM drivers, the alarms. The UI is already merged. I'd like to have this merged. We'll see if we can make it. Definitely the cross connect command. That's something that we need to get in. And I'd like to have this, the CLI and the UI for the bit error rate in. So we kind of have feature parity on all the parameters, meaning we can change parameters through REST API, UI, and CLI, both wavelength, power, modulation, and check the bit error rate. And also the alarms. The alarms, the REST API, the CLI, and the UI are already there. So it's just a matter of feeding them properly, and that's done through Ivan's patch. Okay, I think that was all for myself. Anything else that you guys want to bring up or discuss during today's call? Any questions, comments? No? Then thanks a lot for joining. As usual, I'll send out the recording. I'll upload the recording to YouTube, and I'll make sure to send out those to do those reviews and send out those emails related to the different behaviors that everybody needs to test in relationship to their devices, and then we can proceed forward towards the 2.3, almost 2.3 ODTN 1.0 release. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.